Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the CCA Division 1 playoffs, and we are getting straight into game. This is the Night Sharks versus UCSD Esports Gold. My name is K-Bot. I am joined by Nox. And Nox, the Night Sharks have yet to drop a singular game all season. They're looking to keep that lossless streak alive.
They definitely are, and they have a very fast-paced comp here that's enabled by that E-Leader in Junior, and we are seeing UCSD Esports pulling out a C Junior also, not a weapon we see a ton of in most other scenarios, really good at keeping paint, really good at keeping that pressure going as we start off here again on Clamblitz Flounder Heights.
Starting this one off here, you see both Chargers starting to get set up, and you see the aggressive positioning of that ZF Charger looking to try to take care of that, and a nice pick there to get things started off here. Able to play defensively there and able to find that one just in the nick of time. But nonetheless, going to be pretty even to start things off here. Still neutral as both these teams feel each other out, and now we're actually able to see a very nice little fall-off one there. So many tight picks around these corners for both of these teams as we're getting started.
Yeah, both of these teams seem to really favor those up-close, aggressive playstyles, which is interesting, especially with how that ZF Charger is positioning. They are taking full advantage of that wall. We don't see a lot of clams coming out here right now quite yet from Night Sharks, but they do have this really incredible positioning going for them, as we see that Wavebreaker coming out from the Junior as they're trying to find clams to move in, but they might not be able to get them in time.
Not able to get them down there in time, and it'll only be a push down to 71 for the Night Sharks to get things started off, but they're still keeping a decent bit of presence here. Woomy actually is going to be able to get picked off, and now we see another one go down. As we see some of these members continue to maintain a presence underneath this basket. That Wavebreaker goes out. Emmett tries to find one, but they get taken down in the process. And a nice hold for UCSD as they're able to come on back in this one and try to regroup.
Yeah, and we are seeing Enda on this Tetra here, really trying to be able to move forward, but not going to be able to, thanks to that ZF Charger. A really great weapon at shutting down those Tetras if you manage to hit your shots, and they sure are hitting theirs.
Able to find a few beautiful ones there, and now the triple ink strike goes out, continuing to try to buy some space and really also disrupt the vision sightline for the enemy E-Leader on the other side. Now, these Chargers going to try to stare each other down, and it looks like actually it's going to get jumped on by Emmett, who's now able to pave the way for this power claim to come in. It's a 3-down situation for UCSD. We'll see what else can come through here. Woomy comes up from behind, looking to try to disrupt some things, but even still, the Night Sharks are able to maintain. One claim is going to go in just in the nick of time, extends things slightly. We'll see if they can get any more in. Looks like now dropping, and on the other side is 52 Gal setting up that splash wall and able to throw even a few more in. So much orange ink still around in the area in trades, still able to keep things alive for the Night Sharks. You see a few more clams come in, and now another one randomly pops out of the ink to take care of that carbon roller. Flawful's coming in here, is able to find the last few clams necessary for the Night Sharks to take it in knockout fashion.
Yeah, Night Sharks did a great job there of making sure that they could easily get in and keep those clams coming in. They kept up that pressure, taking advantage of that ZF Charger, sorry. And Fawful doing a great job of running around that map, taking advantage of Junior's really high mobility, keeping up the paint enough to keep getting out those wave breakers, along with running around to get the clams that they needed to get that knockout.
And you talk about Fawful being a significant part of the end of that game. Fawful's been a significant part of the season for the Night Sharks. Let me just read some of these out. This is the note sheet that has been provided to us from the CCA staff. Shout outs to the entire production crew here and for the entire stats crew for being able to put all of this together. But Fawful, third in the division for average assists with 3.67 across 6 games. Second overall in fewest total deaths, 22 across 6 games. First in average paint output adjusted to 5 minutes with over 1,600 paint across those 5 minutes. That is kind of crazy for one player to hold so much across so many different categories. We're talking about assists, least deaths, and paint all together, setting their team up for a quite significant amount of success.
Yeah, and that's something that a good support player can always make sure that you have. It's so important as a support to make sure that you're still involved in the action along with keeping pain up, along with playing that objective. You need to be able to be in there and helping get those assists. Otherwise, you're just pain, which worked okay in Splatoon 2, but works significantly less well in this game.
Anytime that you can get those support players even just slightly more engaged. I mean, hey, I found it true even in Splatoon 2, right? Anytime those support players were able to run up and join some of those fights, all of a sudden, you're able to play off of that a little more. You've got an extra player that you can work around, manipulate with, and continue to go on through there. So now we'll see what comes of this, if the Night Sharks can continue to keep up their momentum, or what responses UCSD might have, as now we're heading over to Megomard map, where this Carbon Roller is going to potentially thrive.
Yeah, definitely a great Carbon map that we're seeing here. Seeing a very traditional comp here coming out of UCSD Esports. A lot of very common weapons that we see right now. Elyr admittedly a little less so, but that machine, that splash, that Neo splash, very comfortable weapons. Carbon able to get a huge pick there on that crab, as they are really being able to encroach on this zone.
And now able to come up with another one there. It's 3 down, and we're starting to see in the pink here, we're starting to see this UCSD team pull a little bit ahead and start to maintain a little more presence. They're starting to come through, and we're starting to see now this Carbon Roller move up into positions and be that ledge goblin that we know is true here on this map.
Yeah, it's such a good weapon on this map. There are so many great ledges for it to play around. They are choosing to give up zone here for a second to allow themselves to regroup, as all of the specials from UCSD Esports are coming out here.
That zone looks egregious. There are like 5 different wave breakers out on top of the zone all at once. Complete pandemonium ensues, and it's going to be the Night Sharks that'll be the team that ends up going 3 down, and UCSD maintains control of the zone for the time being.
Yeah, UCSD doing a great job here of really making sure that they have the space that they want, being able to really focus on getting this lead here.
Let's hop over to their comms and see how they're continuing to set up their defenses as we see the push come in for the Night Sharks.
Crab on the left.
Leader hit me.
I see
Yeah,
him,
watch our left still.
Yeah.
2 more left. Just watch out for there. Keep poking left side.
Nice, okay. Oh, I went to the left.
Keep zone. Keep
Splash
zone
me.
if you can.
Splash on my ouch.
Yeah, I can't really get him. They're on me. They're on left stack.
Oh, he's weak. Got it. Okay, that's fine. We're still doing fine here. On my ouch. Splash. On left zone now. Behind our stack. Left side. Okay, nice. Back out, Mike. You're alone
out.
over there. We have no ink. Nice.
Love the call there. Nice. It's okay that we're giving up the zone, right? Just play patiently. Still got plenty of game and plenty of a lead to work with here.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job here of just keeping those penalty points on and keep continuously stalling out that zone. They might not have found their way fully back in yet, but they also haven't been pushed out. And now the Tetra's able to get a big pick there on that Neo Splash. Does go down to the leader. And the leader, looking to find some nice picks here, has that wave breaker ready to enable their players to be able to move in, as the Night Sharks manage to get back into the zone, looking to hold this cap for longer. Splash trying to enable that, able to take out the E-leader there. That is a huge pick. Noticing that Woomy is behind there, able to get marked thanks to that leader's mines, I'm assuming. And really just doing a great job here of finding space to work with, but they're not quite staying up enough to really have something super secure.
That's the other thing here, is that even though the Splash was able to put out quite a bit of, presence with that crab tank, you still saw in a lot of cases with that 2-down scenario, the Night Sharks weren't fully able to capitalize on that. And now it gave an opportunity for UCSD to cap on that zone, and now we're going to see if the Night Sharks can continue to try to take down this penalty and continue to try to stay in this one. It looks like they're doing well so far. It's another wave breaker on top of the zone. Night Sharks able to avoid that for the time being. Now trying to find a fall off, able to find that one onto the E-leader, and Wumi gets taken out on the Carbon. It's a 3-down situation for UCSD, and there's the wipeout to the favor of the Night Sharks. They're very likely going to be able to find the lead here and might even be able to get the knockout.
Love seeing where that E-leader has pushed up to. That right stack is such a great position, able to see so much. Now the E-leaders are just kind of having a staring contest, both having to reposition a bit, realizing that it's not a great spot for either of them to be in at that point. And we are just seeing the Night Sharks collapsing in on everything and able to easily take that once they found their way in. They seem to be so incredibly good at capitalizing once they get in.
And here's the other thing that might have been slightly concerning here for the UCSD composition, is that it felt like they didn't have very many engaging tools, right? They had these wave breakers, sure, come out on top of the zone, but normally those wave breakers are stabilization tools, right? You want to utilize them to prevent your opponent from getting in rather than trying to engage into a space yourself. And then you pair that on top of having an E-leader maybe, and all of a sudden maybe that carbon roller doesn't have the paint necessary to actually move in and actually be those entry splats that you really need from anywhere on the team, but probably you're looking most towards that carbon. So some of the things for the engagements there of the UCSD composition didn't quite seem to work as well as they might have liked or might have drawn up, and UCF was able to capitalize on that and able to eventually hold the zone for long enough.
Yeah, it definitely seems like UCSD's comp really is good if they're initially holding. They don't have a good re-entry. They don't have an easy way back in. They need to rely on one-off picks from the Tetra or the Carbon or the E-leader, which is not a stable way to play the game. It is not a consistent way to be able to reliably get in. And it's something that is very much doable, but it's going to be less consistent than having something like a Trip Strike to work with to get in.
Right, exactly. You would think of like the Trip Strikes. We think of maybe the Zuka can do this for us every once in a while.
The Crab,
right?
of course.
Crab to some extent. I'm not high on crab stocks nowadays. But,
I'm aware.
That's just my take. I especially don't think the crab's going to be great for an engagement tool, but I digress. That's a soapbox for a completely another day. We're heading next over to tower control on Museum d'Alfonsino here, and we'll see if set pace for the game might be able to shift things up here maybe for UCSD.
Yeah, there definitely could be a shift in momentum here. Would be really nice to see them be able to make this happen. It will be a bit of a challenge here. I think that their E-leader will have a good time here. It's definitely a solid E-leader map, but E-leader into E-leader is kind of always an interesting situation because neither of them can quite position where they want to without being in each other's range usually.
Yeah, and that's going to be one of the things to look out for, of course, and certainly one of the things that's easiest to compare just against one another. But we'll see what else comes of the rest of this here. You know, in addition, it's going to be about trying to find those opportunities for players like Woomy on this carbon roller to find it, get those Tetras in. And then on the other side of the map, it seems like Nifty and Emmett are both going very aggressive plays. We'll see if they have the ability to try to go for those. But actually, it's not an E-leader 1v1 as we see Goatchild for UCSD switch over to that Jet Squelcher.
Yeah, always nice to see a Jet Sculpture coming out. I think that the C-Jet has a lot of good uses. Don't typically see it in tower control, but definitely still can get a lot of good use out of it here. Should be very good at enabling that Carbon and Tetra to get in more easily with that Toxic Mist and Rain, and so that T-Tech will be able to provide them those Trip Strikes that they were lacking that last game to really help them get in more easily. And we are seeing so much crossfire happening in mid from both sides here, but at the moment, UCSD is really starting to be able to make something happen.
And now we see the jump out there for one of the members of the Night Sharks, but it's a 2-down situation for UCSD, and now we're starting to see one of the players come up. That's Emmett, able to take care of one and start to enable the rest of the Night Sharks to sweep through the rest of the map. Now, looks like trades happen on that right side, and it's going to mean that the Night Sharks now have the ability to start looking towards the opponent's plan. With that Wavebreaker going down as well, they're going to be able to build up quite a bit of momentum, and Emmett here doing a beautiful job of actually forcing the enemy team to come to him, trying to dislodge and trying to stop out some of what's happening here. But now, player walking across the grates, that's the Jet Squelcher. Goatchild goes down this time around, and we're seeing some of the other forwards for the Night Sharks continue to come away with their 1v1 victories. The Trip Strikes are thrown towards the tower, the Booyah Bomb thrown back in response, and although meanwhile, Army is continuing to ride this tower on this E-leader. Finally gets dove on by Enda, but it's going to get taken out here all the same. Trip Strikes come out, Nifty's trying to get back on the tower, might be looking for the knockout, but no, it gets stopped by the rest of the members of UCSD, but it'll be down to the 11-point mark for the Night Sharks.
Yeah, getting through all three of those checkpoints is absolutely huge. That is a hard thing to do on this map. and it's going to be extremely hard for UCSD to be able to find a way in. It's definitely doable. They have the specials, they have the weapons that can, but having to play against that E-leader, having that less mobility because of having to play against that E-leader and just being shut down so easily by that machine makes it really, really hard for them.
And look, when you've got players like these Tetras, we've got players like Emmett continuing to just run at you, and whenever you're trying to set up some kind of an offensive presence, it's going to be difficult to actually find the opportunity to fully get in. But of course, if they can try to take the pacing to their opponents, they might be able to do just that, especially on the backs of Boomy here. It's not going to happen this time around. You see the trip strikes go out, and the Night Sharks continue to try to contest their opponent's black here, as UCSD is still looking to try to play a little further back as they try to regroup and try to prevent this tower from going any further forward. There's the Carbon Roller once more, trying to dive on top of the tower, and now the swing around is going to be able to find one on the trade, and Gochild's going to be able to come on back on top of this tower to reset it back to neutral.
Gonna have to be careful there, as they know that that E-leader could be back and looking at them at any given moment. Early use of trip strikes there, as we are seeing Rain starting to be ready, almost there, going to be able to start moving forward on this right side, but the Tetra goes down, and there goes the T-Tech. It is just the Carbon behind them. The Jet Sculpture cannot hold this on their own. Does manage to get the trade thanks to the Rain, but that is going to be the end of that push for UCSD Esports, as we are seeing Night Sharks just being able to play off of their specials so incredibly well.
Enda goes in, but again gets cleaned up by some of the rest of the members of the Night Sharks that were in the area to try to prevent that fight from going any other way. And now we see the Night Sharks once more try to challenge the opponent's black. It is going to be UCSD holding on this time around, as it's going to be a 2-down situation, and perhaps the Night Sharks got a little bit too antsy. Finally, maybe UCSD has found some kind of an answer, but just as I say that, they go 2 down, and Army gets one on the Goatchild there. The E-Leader versus Jet Squelcher matchup is going to be difficult for that Jet Squelcher to play as long as this E-Leader is finding opportunities, finding angles, and hitting those shots. And this E-Leader for the Night Sharks right now is doing exactly that.
Yeah, E-Leader is so good on this map. There are so many open sightlines on this map. There's so few points where the Charger cannot look at you. As we see there, the T-Tech might have thought they were safe, but they were just barely on the wrong area of that pillar. And it is just the Tetras up for UCSD Esports. There are 30 seconds left. The Carbon's trying to find some space to work with. The Rain's still out. The Carbon does manage to find the machine, but they need to clear out that right side. And that splash is still up there in that crab. Carbon trying to do something about it, not able to quite yet. And there is just not much space for UCSD to work with, and they don't have any specials at the ready.
And here's the other thing. Look at how much of that middle of the map was in purple for so long for the Night Sharks here. Now we're starting to see UCSD on the double team, looking to try to take a few of these members down, but now there's another shot coming through. Brar, the E-Leader, opens up the window of opportunity for 2 more to go down, and the Night Sharks are going to be able to clean things up there, taking this 3rd game.
Yeah, UCSD Esports just really had a hard time getting in there with all the pressure that E-Leader was putting out. Anytime they did manage to find an advantage situation, the E-Leader just was able to find the picks they needed to completely reset it and force UCSD to have to back off.
Well, now the question though, right, is you're UCSD. How are you going to be able to bounce back from this, right? You've got to find an answer here. You're starting to run out of time, as now your opponent's up 3-0 on you in this best-of-9 format. They've only got to win 2 more, and you've still got 5 more in order to move on ahead. But we'll see here what they can try to do, because there were some promising things of that last one. Right? We saw some opportunities where they were able to team up. We saw some cases, but then there was like one player that was able to come in from a flank angle for the Night Sharks and win a 1v1 onto an unsuspecting member of UCSD, right? And having the awareness and the ability to try to shut down some of those flank angles, I think is going to be very critical here for UCSD as they continue to try to pick this up.
Yeah, and we saw a lot of promise from them on that Macamart game. But I think a lot of what's going on with UCSD is they are so reliant on that Carbon or that Tetra managing to find the picks they need. And it's really hard to consistently do that against a team that's putting out as much paint as the Night Sharks. It makes it very complicated to find the space you need to work with. And it's not an ideal situation right now if you're UCSD Esports. You're going to be very in your head at this point. It's going to feel very stressful. You know that you almost took that game, but you just flubbed the defense and couldn't find your way in.
So now, reset, compose yourself. Let's move on. Rainmaker Scorch Gorge is the next one up. And this one is going to be something, again, where we might start to see some more of that fast play, right? And there's always an opportunity for comebacks to happen here on Rainmaker, just by the right people being in the right place with the right ink on the ground at the right time. And if UCSD can pull out something here, maybe they'll be able to sneak one by, regain some of that confidence, and come through for the rest of this set. But of course, the Night Sharks, again, have yet to lose a game all season. They'll be looking to keep that momentum forward as they look to finish out semis and move on to finals.
Yeah, and we are seeing an interesting switch here from Sunlight going over to that orange zap. Not a weapon we see a lot of. Those super chumps might be able to allow their Tetra and Carbon to get in more easily. Definitely can see the use there in that comp. The E-Leader coming out here again against an anchorless comp from Night Sharks. They are looking to play this fast and aggressive with no hesitation.
And that's the name of the game sometimes if you're looking towards the Rainmaker here. But on the side of UCSD, they're pulling out the orange end zap with the super chumps, trying to get a little more moral support and some more chip damage there for the rest of the team. And now trades in the middle of the map are actually going to go even here, but the Night Sharks are going to be the ones picking up the Rainmaker and coming through with this pace. Enda tries to dive in on top of the Rainmaker, and now Woomy tries to go for that far right side, but gets taken down in the process to this Rainmaker, who is looking to try to take this up to that first checkpoint and will be able to find the dunk. Not before, right before going down in the process. There'll be a 2-down situation for the Night Sharks, and they might not decide to stick around for this one for much longer, but clearing that first checkpoint will make their job easier as they progress forward in this game.
Absolutely, and that crab was great. It really stalled out the UCSD's ability to get back into mid as quickly. Great shot there from the E-Leader. They might not have gotten the kill for it, but it was a great shot either way. Would have prevented that from moving forward. And they are just looking for space to work with. Carbon able to find a trade, not a terrible trade by any means, but you don't really want trades in this situation. You kind of need just complete picks right now if you're UCSD. You've not found your way into mid really consistently at any point in this game. You're looking for those specials, you're looking for those picks, and they have those super chumps out, but their teammates haven't quite been able to move up with them, so they're not getting much use.
Hold on here just a moment. They're starting to try to move forward here, and they're able to find two onto the Night Sharks. See the E-Leader on the back lines, looking for someone on that far left side, and now going to get challenged with a Fizzy Bomb. Where else are those entry players? You see Enda looking on that right side of the map. Now Flopple going up with the Booyah Bomb, trying to dissuade these members of UCSD by actually going in, and now trades happening right there underneath. Looking to try to back away as Enda will be taken down in the process. And now we're seeing the Night Sharks take back control of mid. They're wrestling it back, and there's the Crab Tank point blank range. Explode shot takes care of business here. Evet's going to be able to come up with the Night Sharks and might be able to get a few more points on the board with this Rainmaker.
Yeah, definitely an option here. Carbon doing what they can to try and slow it down. They are still up, still pushing that Rainmaker back, able to find the pick. They are going to be wanting to capitalize on that as much as they can as they are looking to move forward here yet again. Tetra's going to look to find some space to work with that reef slider as the Trizuka came out from that Carbon.
Now, okay, able to find one here on the Flopple. Coach helping the Rainmaker doesn't quite have the safety net in order to get it up that pedestal with this Crab Tank sitting right underneath the trunk of that steel tree. Now the dunk comes through onto that checkpoint, down to the 69-point mark, but no, they're not able to carry this forward as the collapse comes through for the Night Sharks. The wipeout sending this Rainmaker back the other direction, and now they'll maybe able to get a few more points on the board, but no, Woomy dives right on top of them to try to keep this scoreline just about even, balancing on a knife's edge.
Yeah, great awareness there out of the Carbon to be able to find that pick, but this crab coming out absolutely causing a lot of damage and a lot of chaos. E-Leader and other weapons managing to find some space to work with. Chumps coming out to try and stall this out, trying to make them have to back off. It does work, but they still have so much control of this mid area and this right path that they want to take. Tetra diving, trying to find something, not quite able to, gets looked at by three people. Carbon now going for it, almost able to find the rain, does manage to, does go down in the process. It is just that orange zap up. Tetra just respawned, and we are going to see Night Sharks trying to get even more of a lead here. Gonna be able to find it, getting all the way to 57. Not a huge lead by any means, especially since UCSD has gone through that checkpoint, but there's only a minute left in this game, and they have not cleared Night Sharks out.
What else will they be able to find here? They're trying to move forward, but no, now the collapse comes through. Someone from Night Sharks is able to pick off both Woomy and Enda, and now the Night Sharks are able to pick up the pace and jump right on top of the E-Leader. They're looking for the knockout here, but the rest of this is going to come through. Enough damage from both the Tetra and the Carbon Roller in order to clear out 3 members of the Night Sharks, but it's down to the 14-point mark, and that means all the Night Sharks have got to do now is play defense.
And they have the right weapons for this defensive kind of play. Crab is so good at Rainmaker defense. Trip Strikes are great at defense in every situation. So is Booyah Bomb. They are in a very comfortable position as long as they build those specials. They don't need to play super aggressive. Whereas the UCSD needs to find picks, needs to take out those players before they can use their specials or while they're using them. And they just don't necessarily have the resources to do it. They have that wave, they have that Reef Slider, they have those Trizuka shots, but it doesn't mean that they'll necessarily turn out anything. They are way more gambly specials than the specials Night Sharks have.
Reef Slider goes in, looking to try to find somebody, but the Rainmaker wasn't quite picked up in time. And that's going to mean overtime doesn't come through. Night Sharks now are on match point, as they'll be looking to keep their undefeated streak in this season alive.
Yeah, it would be huge, even if UCSD manages to take 1 game off of them. Like we've been saying, Night Sharks hasn't bled at all. Getting them to bleed is going to be a huge deal if any of the teams tonight manage to.
We'll see what happens here, because again, it's all about trying to keep your composure, right? Here's the other thing too. For the Night Sharks, they've got to keep their discipline all the same, right? They can't get too far ahead of themselves and be looking all the way ahead to those finals. And there's a possibility where UCSD, like we've said, look, they've showed some promise, right? They just can't quite seem to get all of those, elements working in tandem all at once. So we'll see what ends up happening here as we carry on.
Absolutely. And it's definitely not uncommon for reverse sweeps to happen in situations like this. It's by no means unheard of. It's why we have grand finals and double elim tournaments so often. It's not an uncommon thing for us to need to go into those situations where we have, not in this case a bracket reset, but a reverse sweep and a best of 9. Definitely not unheard of by any means.
Not unheard of, has happened before plenty of times, but we'll
Not
see if
common
it will
either.
happen tonight.
Yes.
We'll see if it'll happen tonight. Again, against the team that has not dropped a game all season in CCA Season 3 in the highest division here of Division 1. I mean, this team looks like they're able to put everything together to continue to come through here. I see you all in Twitch chat setting up the narrative. They're sandbagging. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely will. It would be interesting to see what UCSD might want to try and change up. It seems like they're very comfortable with their comp and don't want to mess with it too much, though. So they're not really going to be focusing on counterplay. They're going to be trying to improve their current play. And this is definitely a map where their Carbon can have a great time on if they're set up correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Inkblood Art Academy, we've known since Splatoon 2, having those small little ledges where that Carbon Roller is able to peek over, able to set up things, and we saw in a lot of cases, able to drop in a lot of different ways in that last game, right? To impact certain fights or be a surprise and a nuisance in a lot of ways, right? So that'll be the main thing to watch out for here, but we'll see what else they try to pull through with as well, because, man, these Night Sharks are looking a little scary here and are looking poised to move on to finals.
Yeah, they definitely seem like they're very comfortable, but you never know. Maybe if you make them lose that one game, it ruins their mental. You never know with teams that haven't dropped a game what will happen when they finally do.
That is true. We'll have to wait and see as the teams are now selecting their weapons, figure out what they are going to be playing. Hope you all have enjoyed the show so far. Of course, we've got finals coming up after this. The winner of this match will go on to play against the Banana Split team, the University of California, Davis, that just won their semi over PSU Blue through all 9 games just a moment ago. So, of course, don't go anywhere after this one's over. Before we get there, We'll see if the Night Sharks can try to pull it off here. It's match point for them as they'll be looking to advance after this game. They can pull it off.
Yeah, Night Sharks really going to be wanting to move on into finals here. Going to be very confident in their ability to do so. And we are seeing a 96 scal come out from them. Not something that we see too often these days, but definitely a very good weapon. They're probably going to want to do jumps into that Kraken with the Power Clam, since the Kraken itself can't hold that Power Clam anymore. And we are seeing the same comp that we've been seeing out of out of UCSD Esports here, taking advantage of that Orange Zap again this time.
The other interesting thing about this double splash ball composition is it also is probably going to mean that the E-leader on the other side isn't going to fully be able to get set up, right? Not going to have a lot of opportunities to find those shots into mid onto the opposing side of the map. But now, the Night Sharks go 2 down here, and UCSD might have an opportunity to strike first and strike early as you see them come through with so many specials getting popped towards the enemy side of the map. Another 2 down for the Night Sharks. A few more clams are starting to come through. I don't even know how that one works there with the carbon roller, and now able to come up with another one. Woomi's going on a tear, and already the Triton team has gotten all the way down to 50 in this opening minute.
And managing to get a few more in with those Tetras, E-leader finally having to back off is likely going to go down, but no, that 52 took a while to find him. Did have to chase them all the way to the other side of the map, going to put them in a more vulnerable position to that Carbon and Tetra. And that was a huge opening push from UCSD. Now they need to focus on regaining map control, regaining specials, and finding their way back into mid as we see the specials now coming out from Night Sharks.
Specials
as
come
Tetra
out,
manages to find 2.
Able to find 2 there. Reef slides back, not able to build up much of anything. And here comes the Kraken trying to save something, trying to get something done. But you can't pick up these footballs anymore when you're in the Kraken form. You're not going to be able to have that resource at your disposal. And now both those power cleanses for the Night Sharks are not going to be able to find their way to the basket. And UCSD was able to set up their defenses there thanks to Enda dropping on and getting that double.
Yeah, incredible gameplay there to shut down that push out of the Night Sharks. And now we are seeing UCSD trying to find space to stabilize again, and they just don't have as many resources this time. They are going to need that Carbon or that Tetra to drop in and find something, and they do manage to find one, but it's not going to be quite enough yet, as the Kraken does manage to come in and cause quite a lot of damage. And that 96 gal as the main weapon also isn't too bad, but the Carbon is able to come in, play cleanup, as the E-leader is able to keep focus on that plat, able to find a couple picks, and that is going to be that push over with them not quite finding lead.
Down there, that'll be back to the drawing board and back to the espresso machines for the Night Sharks. They'll have to find a way to come on back and fight this one from behind, but there is still plenty of time left. We're only halfway through this game, but now UCSD might be looking to try to mount a push of their own. You see them start to build up those clams, looking towards that ramp, but doesn't actually have the opportunity to find a way in this time around. Now Gochad decides to step back, taking a little bit more of a passive role here, which is fine, especially when you're playing with the lead. And now protecting this football as well. Picking that one up. We'll see what else UCSD can try to come forward with. Here comes Reef Slider, Ink Zuka, both going out. Zuka's able to find one under Nifty. It's a 2-down situation for the Night Sharks again. The Carbon Rollers are able to move forward here, and now the Chumps come out as well to continue having something for this Carbon to fight with. We're able to see Woomi come up with even a few more. Now has to try to turn around, but is not going to get taken out nonetheless. But it's still a 2-down situation for the Night Sharks, and UCSD has enough ink underneath the basket to get a few more clams in. They'll get down to the 23-point mark before the wipeout comes through, but now the Night Sharks are storming back to the other side of the map.
Yeah, Night Sharks always do an incredible job once they get those wipeouts of moving up super quickly and painting up really efficiently. It's something those quad shooter comps are so good at. And we are seeing this 52 gal on the flank here, my bad, trying to find some space to work with, taking advantage of those trip strikes. Does get pinched out there, though, as there are 2 players going down yet again, and it seems like the Night Sharks don't quite know how to regroup here. Obviously, there's still a minute left. It's Clam Blitz. Anything can happen. But they have not been able to consistently find a good way in with the Power Clam to get in and stay in.
On that note, with a minute left to go, the pressure's on. Let's see what the Night Sharks are thinking about as we drop into their comps.
Strike's ready, strike's ready.
Yeah, just push. I'm trying to like speed. I got the Tetra. I got 2 on me.
Harder got me and I fucked up my wall, my bad.
Yo, Billy, can you get that?
Oh, I mean, I was trying to, but this roller, they're going top left now, because watch out those. Got... Wait, no, never mind, you're alone.
Oh.
Yeah, we can't push right now because we have 2 down.
Yeah.
I'm being dumb, sorry.
There's a roller left side.
I have strikes again.
Okay.
Yeah, what did you do?
I'm cracking in.
Okay,
Okay.
go.
Has been pulled. Kraken goes in on top of the trip strikes coming through here. Will they be able to find a way to get these power claims in? Looks like now it's a 2-down situation. UCSD might be going down. The football comes through, and now it's 3 down for the Night Sharks. The wipeout, though, just in the nick of time before the trip strikes explode. And that's going to mean that UCSD will take the first game away from the Night Sharks all season.
Incredible gameplay there out of UCSD, just doing such a great job of keeping up the pace, keeping up with playing with each other, and moving in with their specials so well. That's something that often gets underestimated in Splatoon, but if you move up with your specials, you get so much more value out of them. Sure, you can pop them and hope for a pick, but with specials like Chumps especially, the Tetra was able to move up with them, able to capitalize on the space they created, and just cause so much chaos. The Tetra didn't even necessarily get so many picks when that happened, but they were able to go in, cause so much chaos, allow the E-Leader to get some free looks, allow the other weapons to go in and fully capitalize off of it.
Can I just say, this is completely unrelated to anything, but shout-outs to whoever it was from UCSD that put a little smiley face on the map at the very end of that one. I saw it. I don't know if anyone in Twitch chat saw it, but whoever that player was, bless your soul for coming through with that one. We'll see what UCSD can continue to do, if they can continue to keep those spirits up as they move forward for the next few games, because they now have taken their first game. Maybe a little bit of that confidence is able to come through here, and we'll see if they can keep those smiling faces on.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a possibility. And like we said, Night Sharks have not dropped a game this league. Not one. So this is absolutely huge, and it could really mess with their mental, because if you've never dropped a game in a league, it's gonna mess with you to drop one.
Well, again, uncharted waters for the Night Sharks. We'll see if they can keep their composure. Now, again, they've been able to, I'm sure they've had games, individual games, where they've had to bounce back, crawl back, and try to get the lead back, towards the end of the game. Maybe it's an overtime push or something of the sort. But, the fact now that they've dropped a game, maybe they're starting to feel a little less confident. Who really knows? But most importantly, will they be able to find that reset switch heading into the next few maps? Because now we're heading over to Splat Zones on Brinewater to try to set things up here. And the main problem for them is probably, once again, going to be looking towards this E-Leader, right? If these E-Leaders come back out, we'll see what happens, because that E-Leader, as we kind of talked about in the last set, can be dominant on this map.
Yeah, E-Leader is so strong here. It can reach so much of the map. You need to make sure that you're focusing subs and specials on it a decent bit of the time because of how open the sight lines are. Because if they're not forced to look away, they do just get open lines of sight on pretty much all of the map. And there's not a ton you can do about it without using a ton of resources on them. Now, admittedly, if there are two E-Leaders, they kind of negate each other a little bit because they're busy staring at each other to some degree. But that's still not enough to fully keep them out of commission.
So we'll see what kinds of chaos can be sown here as UCSD looking to keep up the pressure against the Night Sharks, because now there's blood in the water. We'll see what happens here as now these teams prepare for the 6th map in the series, which I don't fully know that many people expected us to get down to a 6th map. But now we see the compositions come out here, and this time around we see more mix-ups coming in from the Night Sharks. 52 double tented tech explosion knocks.
Yeah, definitely a very, very paint-heavy comp. Going to be able to put out consistent paint pressure to try and keep that carbon under control. The C Junior is going to be trying to negate that, though, trying to keep up that pressure the other way around, trying to keep enough paint out. And that is 2 down on the side of Night Sharks. It seems like UCSD is really out here trying to make them bleed as much as they can. Really incredible job just taking as much space as they can, using those sub-weapons to force movement, and forcing that Explo to have to play very cautiously.
Now, where will Rumi be able to go here? Pops that Zuka and gets taken down in the process, as some of the members of the Night Sharks are continuing to play more aggressively, but they get caught out one by one. They go 3 down all the meanwhile, and it's really only E-Leader up here for UCSD, not going to be able to prevent the cap coming through on top of the zone, and that penalty crucially gets applied here for the Night Sharks to have an opportunity to try to bounce back.
Yeah, Night Sharks absolutely do. As we are seeing the E-Leader trying to find his picks, using that Wave Breaker incredibly well to allow their teammates an easier path in and to cause a bit of chaos, cause some distraction. That's a lot of what UCSD's comp wants to do to allow that Carbon and that Tetra to be able to move more easily. And we are seeing both of them doing it incredibly well, and the Junior just keeping up that paint for everybody as we see that 52 gal go down.
We'll see what happens here. Woomy starts to come forward, able to find a trade here at the very bare minimum. And again, the pressure on. Will the Night Sharks be able to bounce back from this one? Trip strikes go out. Now a second set of trip strikes on top of the zone there as well. A long range one onto Coaster there. Able to come away with that one cleanly. Now we see Woomy dive back in. There's the Common Roller. Gets up close and personal. Diving on top of an opponent. Getting one down in short range and then jumping right back away. As now the attention should be focused towards the zone. Reef Slider runs right over the top of the map, and now it's a 2-down situation for the Night Sharks to make it a 3-down situation for the Night Sharks. Woomy is able to find one of the last few with Enda there on these Tetras, and UCSD is setting up themselves up in pretty good position to be poised for this game as well, Knox.
Yeah, they are. The Tetra does go down there to a splat bomb, unfortunately, but we are seeing Billy trying to find a way in here. Gonna have a hard time with that E-Later set up in mid and how many specials are continuously keeping coming out. Trip Strike's coming out here, gonna be able to probably neutral the zone for a second, probably cap even, but they still can't really capitalize on it because there are still 4 players up for USCD Esports, and they are doing such an incredible job of keeping up this paint, keeping up this pressure, and allowing themselves to stay alive.
Now the Killer Whale comes out, targets this E-Leader, and that E-Leader's forced to rotate back. The zone's going to go back to the favor of the Night Sharks, and now Reef Slider once more. Cross from Enda. Toast gets taken down in the middle of the zone, and now UCSD might still be able to hold on to this zone in the long run. Enda trying to come up with one, going to get the trade onto Billy, and now we're seeing Nifty came through with the paint for the Night Sharks on top of the zone, but you've got to be careful of this E-Leader. Goatchild continues to sit up there menacingly, as we talked about at the beginning of this one here, and it's going to have more opportunities for UCSD to try to get themselves back on top of this zone.
Yeah, end up taking a big drop in there, able to recap thanks to those wave breakers, thanks to those torpedoes, and just how much paint they're able to output despite having a Tetra and a Carbon. Really incredible job there of just keeping that paint up. Nifty going down yet again. Going to be able to recap this zone as they are going to try and move forward off of this again. Going to try and put pressure on those T-Techs, put pressure on that Explosion. Those torpedoes and those auto bombs are doing such a great job of keeping that Explo out of position, out of the ability to keep that constant chip damage that they're looking for up. And we are starting to see points ticking down for UCSD again.
Now, it's another 3 down. Make that the wipeout there as the final trade comes through with Woomy in position. 18 ticks the timer left to go here, and UCSD is about to take a second game off of the Night Sharks. They're trying to throw everything they've got towards the zone here, but it's not going to come through in time, and the Triton team is taking a second game, keeping their hopes of this reverse sweep alive.
Yeah, absolutely incredible job from them. Just incredible. Not something that we were expecting to see by any means, but they capitalized off of having that E-Leader so incredibly well. And it's really impressive to see how well they are playing off of each other. That is so key to what they are doing. Their comp would not work without them playing off of each other constantly.
Well, whew. We are starting to be in... quite literally, I mean, I made the comment a moment ago, but uncharted territory for, or maybe it's uncharted waters. I'm trying to work in as many, I'm really trying to, like, find as many, like, water-themed puns.
Yeah.
Like, with Triton, with sharks, you know, all of these things, right? But we're now, like, 2 games down is the Night Sharks here. Which they have not been. The real question is, what will their responses be? How will they be able to try to find these adaptations? And most importantly, will they be able to find the presence of mind to prevent themselves from swinging mentally back one way or the other? Because I think, and especially these long marathon sets like this, Nox, that perhaps is the most important factor.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where it can be so easy to get overexcited and start overcommitting to fights because you feel so good. You're on top of the world. You are winning against a team that you were not expecting to take games off of even necessarily. And so there's going to be this adrenaline that they're feeling. There's going to be a lot of excitement, and they have to keep the adrenaline and excitement up, but not let them go too far. And that's such a hard skill to get good at. And not that these players are not good players, but they are not as experienced as a lot of top players are, so it's going to be a very hard thing for them to keep this under control.
Tower Control Hagglefish Market is up next, and we talk about potential things where we like the premise of a lot of these weapons that want to get up close and personal, want to go for those flank angles, and want to continue to try to provide those openings, especially things like the Carbon Roller, the Tetra Dualies that UCSD is favoring and has favored over the course of this set so far. This one looks like it might even be, closer to a map that might favor UCSD, and one that they've got to be looking forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a cool situation for UCSD to be in. It's not something that they would expect to be in, and so they are going to try and run with it as far as they can. They want to win this. They want this upset. This would be absolutely huge for them, and huge to just see in general. This is not, you don't beat the team that hasn't dropped a game in a league. So once you start making them bleed, it might be hard for them to bounce back, but it also helps you feel so energized.
So, with the energy up, we'll see what UCSD can do. And I'm actually real curious to hear what their comms are like as we enter this game, as we get into their minds. So let's take a look and let's take a listen at what UCSD has on their minds as they kick off this game.
Two crabs, object shredder, Zuka.
Machine.
I can hit anything. Is gonna go
He's
crazy.
stealth.
Yeah,
Ninja.
stealth, two
Going
ninjas.
left.
Yeah, they're painting it. They're
Yeah,
not
well.
going that way yet. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, they went that way. I can't challenge
going
it.
back.
There's one on left. There's one on left.
Yeah.
Flash wall. There's one right side as well.
They're trying to
They're in
push up.
bumping middle, but
Got
Oh.
one.
oh, there's
Nice.
yeah, there's a crab. There's a crab in middle.
Oh yeah, they're crabbing me. Okay.
Okay.
still
hold
one
on, I'm
right.
flanking with the chumps.
Yeah, I put chumps in.
Got
Crab
one.
is crab is
Oh,
get
weak,
out,
weak,
get out.
weak.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
52 right. Oh, they're backed up.
Yeah, they're backing
Hold on,
up.
we get check here. Just keep check here. Oh, I zooted
Yeah,
a
I'm on
little early.
tower.
Yeah, I'll trade with you.
Yeah, focus check.
There you go.
They're
They're
coming up. There's a crab. There's a crab.
I heard it. Yeah.
I'll push crab with Reef. Oh, I didn't work.
Oh no no no! It's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
Crab is almost
I
out.
didn't get-
No,
did we
please.
get? Okay, you're last. Just jump out. Jump out.
I could.
Fantastic opening there for UCSD, and despite the wipeout, they get it all the way down to the 44-point mark here, Nox. But as we were talking a moment ago, you actually noted something about their composition, specifically the orange zap and the ability for its super chumps.
Yeah, Super Chumps really enable that Carbon and Tetra to be able to go in very quickly. There's not a lot of comps where Super Chumps necessarily will work super well, but in this scenario, Tetra and Carbon don't want to be seen all that often. And as we saw just there, the Carbon was kind of able to sneak in because of the distraction they had caused and the little bit of paint they had thrown down, and that enables them to get in so much more easily and prevent that checkpoint from falling.
The checkpoint is held on to here for UCSD, who is still looking pretty strong right now. They've been able to find something that works here. Killer Whale goes out to the other side of the map, is going to cause a little bit of a thorn in the side here. The Night Sharks might be able to pick up a little bit more momentum to come on back into mid, but they've got to be careful this E-Leader. Now, this machine able to get into position, throws this Booyah Bomb out, but gets taken down in the process. Even still, it's a two-down situation for UCSD, and the Night Sharks are starting to approach this first checkpoint. Will they be able to find something here? It looks like the E-Leader trying to go over towards Billy, but so much purple ink has been built up here for the Night Sharks. They've already made it past this first checkpoint, and then tries to dive on top of the tower. Doesn't get much in the process here, and Goatchild still in the back lines looking for something here. Now finally has the opportunity to turn their attention towards the tower, and Woomy tries to dive in. That's a one-for-one trade, but all the meanwhile, the Night Sharks have gotten to this checkpoint, gotten the lead, and are going to be looking to pass through this checkpoint, especially now that Emmett's got this grab tank in a fantastic position, continuing to clear things up, and the specials continue to stagger one on top of another here. Now down to the 24-point mark. Emmett drops down onto Woomy, who is trying to come in from the back sides. And now there's 3 members of the Night Sharks still circling this tower. Finally, they get taken down one by one, but Billy still wins the 1v1 with the Killer Whale, comes up away with 1, buys enough time for Nifty to jump in. Will Nifty be able to keep this one alive? We'll see if that's the case, but now finally looks like the Carbon Rollers found the high ground here, and that player will be pushed back down to the 13-point mark here for the Night Sharks.
Incredible push there. And we're going to see UCSD needing to reclaim a ton of space, needing to find a lot to work with. Tetra does go down. You really want to focus on staying up here no matter your weapon. You need that space. You need those lives. You need the control. And right now, that Carbon is going to get rushed down by that 52 gal. Not a weapon they have a ton of answers to. 52 gal now going to be able to get on that flank, going to be able to take out that Carbon, going to be looking for that leader specifically, because if you take out the leader, that can easily be a full wipeout. And there it is. And now we're going to see Night Sharks really cleaning up space, really just taking as much room as they can to just reassert that, no, we're going to finals here.
Billy able to find that one onto Woomy once more, and now utilizing these splash walls down and a little bit of the burst bombs coming from the teammates. Now able to find the cross onto Goatchild with that E-leader, and we'll see just how far this tower can continue to come. Emmett still on the tower, allows for the jump to come in from Nifty. Both these players looking to take their crab tanks to that right side of the map again. Now Nifty tries to find a little bit more of the engagement on this fight. Dualies are forced to dodge roll backwards though, as the Carbon Roller was in position to try to get a little bit of work done onto that tower. And now the rest of the push is going to crumble once more. And so far, UCSD, if nothing else, they've at least held that final checkpoint, Nux. And they've still got a shot at staying alive in this series, but they've got to push it back to the other side of the map in 23 seconds.
And it's absolutely doable. Tower control is a mode where that kind of thing can happen. Taking out that machine is absolutely huge. Gets rid of that Booyah Bomb for a little bit longer. There goes the 52 gal. They have that crab ready with the dually still, but they might be able to shut that down, taking advantage of that Trizuka and that brief slider as the E-leader's riding this tower, taking advantage of the Tetra being able to claim that top right area, allowing them to sit on that tower. They are trying to take out that crab with the Trizuka, managed to, but they need to get back on this tower. They need to hold this. It's just the Tetra probably going to reslide on this tower, not quite able to, and that is going to be the set to Night Sharks. But what an incredible fight put up there by UCSD Esports.
UCSD, just when everyone was starting to count you out, you prevailed in a way that I don't think anyone was fully anticipating. So hats off and a round of applause to you all for taking your first few games over the Night Sharks. And this has set up an interesting kind of check mark and a little bit of a rivalry maybe for the members of UCSD, who will probably be chomping at the bit for the next time they get to go up against the Night Sharks.
Absolutely. And it'll be so interesting to see what happens versus the Night Sharks versus the Banana Split coming up in this next segment. And we will be back shortly.